right through. Now security, they did not see him. They just hovered around his tomb. But there's a pretty little thing waiting for the king down in the jungle room. When I was walking in Memphis, I was walking with my feet 10 feet off a beam. Walking in Memphis.
All right. Hey, everybody. Good evening. Good evening. Good evening. Let's sign in. I'm already there. Speaker. All right. Hey, welcome to the restart of the DMP. I don't need that mic. Y'all can hear me okay? Yes? Okay. Good, good, good. So let's just dive right in. The definite major purpose. This is, we're going back to day one. We're going to start this so that there's absolutely no if, ands, or buts, no questions, no delays. We're going to, when you have to go back to the basics, you go back to the basics. And the basics are, this is more critical than just about anything else you'll ever do. It's a skill that when you develop it, it will last you for the rest of forever. And it'll be something you'll be able to pass on and teach to others. So let's dive right in. So hopefully if you have your workbook, if not, go on. You can put it in your notes. So open a new page to your notebooks, put day one, and put workbook questions. If you don't have the pages of the workbook in front of you, let me share a screen here. Here we go. Basic, advanced, here we go, share there. All right, so the science of personal undevelopment, finding your DMP. We're actually going to take the time. I'm going to pause and maybe play some music while you answer the questions, because we are not going past this till everybody raises their hand and is done. Does that sound fair? This is yes. This is no. Okay, good. So welcome to the cornerstone of your journey toward your definite major purpose. The cornerstone is desire. So write that down. Somewhere in your workbook, write it down, desire. And I want you to participate. I'm going to encourage you. I'm going to cajole you, coerce you, corral you, and convince you that you will participate in this. Because otherwise, go find out what's on Netflix and go watch that. Because this is about developing a skill that will change everything. Wallace D. Waddell says it's not about doing certain things. You've written goals down, you've written dreams down, you've done dream boards, you've done conversations, you've done seminars, you've done workbooks. If you're still struggling on acquiring, being able to set a dream, set a goal, and then achieve it, you are missing out on this skill. This is the skill that will change everything. So, Napoleon Hill once penned the starting point of all achievement is desire. It is, let me shrink this, it is the fiery furnace that can transmute thought into powerful action. I want you to pay attention to that. The words that he uses, the words that were used, the words that have been created are all about this ability to find a way to be able to serve you, to be able to have a conversation with you, so that you can literally do more. Does that make sense? It's the fiery furnace that can transmute thought into powerful action. So here's my point. If as you went through the first couple of weeks of the program, there wasn't a fire inside of you, there wasn't a moment of aggravation, of frustration that got converted. See, it's one thing to get upset, frustrated, aggravated, agitated. It's another thing to use that as fuel. Too many people use that as the wet blanket on their dreams. I want you to get fired up. I want you to get mad. I want you to get frustrated. I want you to get tire kicking, screaming, door kicking, screaming. I want you to say enough is enough, because until that level of emotion, now it could be wildly excited. Oh my gosh, I see it. I'm clear. I'm totally in. I'm locked in. It's the ability to sustain the elevated level of emotion. Now, I didn't say it was positive and I didn't say it was negative. It could be either. I need you to pay attention. I need you to hear that. We can manifest from a high state of emotion, an elevated state of emotion. It doesn't say that it's got to be positive. It just said elevated. So when we begin to understand that, when we begin to become clear, it's so important for us to find a way for us to become fully aware of the skills that we have put on the back burner. When you acquire the keys to turning on your desire, I didn't say until you acquire desire, you have to find the keys, the link, the situation for you to access life at a higher level. And this is the ability to have your desire. Desire is an ability to focus and the power to say no. The power to say no. It's easy to say no because you're saying yes to so many other distractions. It doesn't take discipline. It doesn't take strength. It takes power. So the desire is more than just mere wishing, a wishing well where you toss a penny in and hope for the best. It's a visceral, burning compulsion that galvanizes your will, fuels your imagination, and turns the invisible scaffolds of your dream into tangible realities. Understanding, nurturing, and refining your desires, not just a step, it is the bedrock of the edifice of that your DMP will be built upon. So take a moment as you begin to start to define where you are actually starting. Are you frustrated with your current level of success? Maybe you're overweight, disappointed by the way your body looks. Maybe you're struggling in relationships. Are you behind on your payments and your promises? So on this page, this is page 1 in the workbook. You can write page 1 if you print out the workbook later on and want to transfer these notes into that. Just do it into your notebook. I want you to put down what are some of the reasons, what are some things that currently have you struggling? What are some things that currently have you struggling that you want out of your life? I want you, and if you wrote them down before, write them down again. I want you to put some notes down. What are some of the things that have got you struggling? Right? If we were to do our list of 21 reasons, what are some of the 21 reasons you want your DMP in place? Is it generational? And listen, we're talking about the crucible, the furnace, which you will burn fear and doubt in and transmute it into gold. You could put down something as simple as, I want revenge. I want to prove them wrong. Think about that for just a second. Who's somebody you want to prove wrong? Doesn't that get you a little fired? Doesn't that get you a little hot under the collar? I want to listen, I'm not saying it's the best way, but right now we've got to burn some of this doubt off. I want to put it in their face and say, see, I did it. This isn't church. We're not talking about turn the other cheek just yet. We're talking about draw the frickin' line. Draw it behind you. This is the moment. Because I can promise you, having had a friend who passed away in 13 days, just recently, a week in the hospital, gone. Imagine having a conversation with your death day self. You're on the clock. You got 30 minutes left, 45 minutes left, and you get to talk to yourself. You get to talk to the you right now. What do you say? What's the should-haves that you would tell yourself? Should have went on vacation. Should have taken that trip. Should have made that call. Ask that person out. Should have ended that thing a long time ago. Should have started that new business. What's it going to take to burn the bridges? No more dabbling. This doesn't mean you're going to town with a flamethrower. It does mean the only reason you're going to town is to win. What do you want to win at? What's the trophy you want to put on the mantle? About another 60 seconds. What's the relationship that suffered because you didn't take a chance? We're writing down on page 1 in the workbook, Danny, the things that have kept us, the things we want. Why do we want our DMP in place? Why do we want our DMP in place? What are some of the things we want to do? What are the things we're just going to absolutely, we've got to put it through the crucible. We've got to put it through the fire. We've got to get serious about this. What are the things that we want done? Our DMP is in place and we're locking down, we're locking in the success model. What do we got to get done? About another 30 seconds and then we're going to move on. Everybody got a couple of things down? Okay. So why can't I find my desire? Why can't I find it? As you proceed through this chapter, prepare to confront some of your deepest fears. How many of you had some fears pop up when you were writing down stuff? You're like, well, I couldn't write that down. You'll be asked to strip away the layers of external expectation and peer deep into your own psyche, a realm where Carl Jung believed our true selves reside. Whether you align with Eastern philosophies that caution against the trappings of desire, right? Money's the root of all evil. Or subscribe to the Stoic balance of passion and reason, this journey is bound to challenge your preconceptions. Wallace D. Wattles in the book Science of Getting Rich talks about if you honestly believe that if you had access to more knowledge, to more experiences, to world travel, to sitting in front of the statue of David, to looking at the Mona Lisa, to walking the Louvre, to riding on a riverboat in the Thames. If you believe that your life could increase its value, could increase its capability, if you had exposure to more things, how many of you believe that there's an even better version of you as you begin to expand your horizons of awareness? Do you all believe that? Then Waddles says, and Bob Proctor said, you have a right to be rich. It is the law that you must become rich. And so part of this fear of embarrassing our parents, of creating more income than them, about worrying about what our ex said, or our teacher in school said, or our brothers or sisters said about us reaching and living in our dreams. If you decide to answer this call, if you decide, you haven't decided yet. You're only making inquiries. The decision hasn't completely happened yet. It's a nice thing. Do you realize that when you make this decision to go for your DMP, to put it together, to read it, to understand it, to memorize it word for word for word for word, do you realize what you're saying yes to? Do you realize what you're saying no to? So the critical nature of this step. So why is the process so critical to your DMP and your ultimate success? Finding your desire. First, desire is the emotional charge that electrifies your goals. Let's just pause right there for a second. If your goals, when your goals come to fruition, ask yourself this question. When my goals come to fruition, would it be fair to say that they have come alive? If your goals come to life, if they come to fruition, if they show up in your world, would you say that they are a living embodiment? They have acquired the frequency necessary to take on the physical realm. Anything in the physical realm, would you say that it has energy, that it has life? Nod your head, yes, if you believe that. Do it with a little bit more vim and vigor, like you actually effing mean it. Are you kidding me? Do you see how you're sitting here? We're talking about you taking control of your life. And I ask you a question, it's like, I guess so. Could fucking work. I have to do a better job. This is so absolutely life-changing, life-critical. You are going to have to play at a higher level. Because if you don't, you will be exhausted. If you don't go the extra mile, you will be in constant competition with your old self. And I promise you, the second that other stuff burns away, you'll reveal the copper, you'll reveal the gold, you'll reveal the platinum, the plutonium, the stuff that is absolutely worth billions of dollars an ounce. So your desire is the emotional charge that electrifies your goals. It gives them a pulse. If we believe in the law of attraction, what's the secret that we are all aware of, that we have access to? We have somebody who has been teaching it for 4 years, 3.5 years. You want to know how to electrify your goals? You want to know how to give them a pulse? You want to know how to put a life force into them? Anybody want to guess? Gratitude.
Gratitude.
Gratitude. It is the most powerful thing. And here's the thing about, let me ask you this. Imagine this for just a second. Imagine a room that you're in. It's a big room, not as big as the universe, a little bit smaller, but imagine this room that's the size of a football stadium. And at the other end of the football stadium, there's nothing in the way. But you have your finger on a light switch. And you flip on the light switch, and at the end of the football stadium, 300 yards away, 400 yards away, is everything you want, everything you want, everything you want. Can you all picture this? You flicked on the light, and there you go. You want to know what keeps the light on? Gratitude. The second you go, son of a bitch, I can't believe they did that, the lights go out. And the goals move. Everything you want shifts inside the building. And now, all of the distractions that weren't there in the light show up in the dark. And you're going back to the light switch. But the light switch has moved as well. And now you have to stumble and you have to get to the wall, and you finally make it to the wall, and now you're trying to find the switch. And you finally find the switch, and you flip the switch back on, and you get your eyes on the target, and you get your eyes on the target, and all of a sudden you go for it again. You just left the big event. You're all excited. You got some people who are going to hold you accountable, and you're going to do your gratitude. And this time you get halfway across and somebody says you're not good enough. And you went, I can't believe they would say that about me. Out go the frickin' lights. And in come all the distractions. And you wonder why it's so freaking exhausting, starting over and over and over. It's because the definite major purpose wasn't there. You didn't have non-negotiables. You didn't have a reason to say no to all of the bullshit that's keeping you stuck. Yes, there's curse words coming out of my mouth because I don't know. The others wasn't working. The other wasn't working. Got a problem with it? I guess it's time for us to part ways then. But I think you've suffered enough. I think you've suffered way too long. Some people are in their comfort zone, which is their suffering zone they've become comfortable with. Without a potent desire driving you, your DMP becomes a rudderless ship, aimlessly drifting in a vast ocean of possibilities. Second, a clear, unequivocal desire provides focus. It's the lens that sharpens the blurred lines of ambition. This is what Waddle says. It's not about doing certain things. It's about doing things that sharpens that lens that sharpens the blurred lines of ambition, carving out a path from the murkiness of indecision. It serves as an anchor point. Could you imagine imagine this. Y'all remember the football stadium, the lights are on, and the second you lose gratitude? What if you knew that soon as you prepared in the darkness, follow me on this, you prepared in the darkness, you felt the light switching, and rather than just turn it on, because the second you turn it on, you have to stay in gratitude. If not, the switch moves. Imagine if you prepared in darkness. Imagine if you prepared right now before you said yes and signed your name to the dotted line, and you were going to do it, and you were going to do it, and you were not going to stop, and you were going to do it, and you were going to get fired up, and you were going to stay fired up, and you were actually going to burn away the fear and the doubt. Imagine right now in the darkness, if you set up, you know how long your goal is away. Is your goal 5 years away? I know we're talking about 1 year away in our DMP. So it's 12 months away. Let's just stay focused on that right now. It's 12 months away. When it says it is your anchor point, it serves as an anchor point to align your skills, resources, and opportunities in the direction of your DMP. Here's the visual I got. You build the anchor, and you build the golden thread of gratitude. Listen carefully. Follow me on this. How many of you remember, most of you on this call right now are old enough to remember Wonder Woman and her golden lariat, right? Imagine if you built a 500-yard long golden lariat made out of gratitude. And the second you flipped on the light switch, you had pumped yourself up, you were in complete burning desire, and you had absolutely the strength of 10 gods and goddesses. And you flipped on the switch, and you had that golden lariat of plenty of gratitude, and you had this anchor that you built that is your DMP, and you took that anchor, and without any hesitation, you saw your target, and you threw that anchor directly to it. And it hooked into your goals, and it hooked into your target, and it hooked into your wants and wishes and desires. And you are now holding on to the gratitude, and you are anchored at your DMP. You are no doubt, no fear, no question. And guess what happens? You start walking along and you have locked that gratitude around you, and something comes along and takes and kicks you off of gratitude, and the lights go out. You know what you still got? You still have the residual line of gratitude that you can refire and rekindle. And what if you got it so lit up, so burning with fire, that you were able to rekindle your gratitude, and the only thing that lit up was the line between you and your goals? Do you have any more doubt? Do you have any more fear? Do you enjoy the darkness? Or do you enjoy sitting in gratitude before you go to sleep, living in gratitude, sleeping in gratitude, waking in gratitude, working in gratitude, dealing with jackasses and a-holes and buttheads and cool people and nut jobs, all in gratitude? I love you. I love you. You're fascinating. I love you. Amazing. And you are not letting go of your DMP. Not for a second. I don't care if the lights go out. I've got my gratitude. I've already hooked in, tied in, wound in directly to my target. How do you stay so joyful? How are you always this way? Because I'm freaking locked in. You can't take me away. You can drag me. I got plenty of room. You can drag me away. You can be stronger than me. You can pull me away. The winds could blow me. I could move halfway around the stadium, but I still know where my anchor is hooked in. My anchor is locked in, and you are not taking that away from me. The third step is setting your tone for the emotional resilience you'll need throughout. Took me off my target. I don't recognize this. When the darkness, when you get slammed into indecision and slammed into doubt, you better hold on to your damn gratitude. Too many people let go because of their indecision, because they are saying, well, I just got distracted. From what? What did you get distracted from? There is no distraction if all you have is traction. Is this making sense? Or am I just... The third step is you're setting the tone for the emotional resilience you'll need throughout your journey, and you'll learn from the principles of mental toughness. The biggest thing that causes so many people to fail is delusional thinking. It's literally delusional thinking. There is no nicer way to say it. There's no simple way to say it. There's no polite way to say it. You're delusional. To think that you can get frustrated with somebody, that's going to move you closer to your goal. To complain later on that you got frustrated about something that you shouldn't have gotten frustrated about, and now you're frustrated in the future, which is now about things that have nothing to do with you 6 months from now. This is delusional thinking. It's insanity. Your desire, intense, unwavering, will be the catalyst that transforms these challenges into stepping stones. Imagine if everything that you bumped into, every distraction, it crumbled and turned into kindling wood and you were able to light a fire. In essence, desire is not just a chapter in your DMP. It is the prologue, the introduction, and the very ink that pens your success story. Do you realize you've already got this? Don't you have the ability to get wound up? Let me ask you again. Don't you have the ability to get wound up? We just usually we get unwound usually in negative situations. We lose a spring, a screw, when we're pissed off. I'd say, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to swap the channel. The law of opposites. Missing it or glowing over it is akin to building a skyscraper without a foundation. How long is that going to last? How many floors do you think you can get into a skyscraper before it crumbles? You can get a bunch. You could get 4 or 5 and the progress will look great. You could get 6 or 7, but at some point there's going to be a straw that breaks it. It's just not a matter of if it will, but when. So let's prepare yourself to dig deep, question, and most importantly, to desire vehemently your DMP. Your DMP and your life depend upon it. So here's where we're going to be doing some more introspection. So social conditionings. The concept of a burning desire is a pivotal one in the realm of personal development. However, identifying it indeed can be a struggle for many. How many of you answered all of these questions? Just if you answered all of the questions, so you may have answered some, but if you went through all of these pages and answered all of these questions, anybody do all of them? Okay, Louise, excellent. Did you do them to check the box or did you do it in state?
I checked myself on that. I busted myself and I did a little meditation and I did it in state.
Each time?
Yeah. I mean, this is why I'm doing this completely, not skipping words, not skipping anything. Now,
Okay.
Have I read it since? No.
Okay. How's that working for you?
It's not.
Just curious. If I can implore you guys and gals and geniuses, if you could just give this 40 days, 50 days, 60 days, I promise you, your life will never be the same. I don't care if it's 20 minutes a day, but I promise you, you have an hour a day. You got to give up some other crap that's not working. You just have to. I shouldn't say you have to. You have the opportunity to make a choice. And you can say, this is busy work. And I can say, you're right, I'm rich, let's move on. And it has nothing to do with money. If you've woken up in the last 15 days wondering what you were going to do today, please give me an hour a day for the next 40 days. I promise you. If you do it with a state, with an intent, I don't care if it's half an hour of you having to go light your clothes on fire, to burn and to get the energy going, to run around naked somewhere doing something, to get yourself fired up and then do 30 minutes of work, you won't recognize yourself in 15 days. If you decide that I'm all in, burn the ships, I'm all in, I'm either coming home on my shield or with my shield held high, I promise you, this will change everything. And it's not because I'm that good. These are rules that exist, that have been used for thousands of years. I didn't make any of them. None of this is mine. None of these rules, none of these suggestions, none of these ideas. These are from Marcus Aurelius. These are from Epictetus. These are from Mark Twain and Martin Luther King. These are the foundations that made them. So let's look at some of the societal conditioning and taboos. So inherited roles. In your notebook, write things I inherited. Things I inherited. And I want you to write down 3 or 4 things that you inherited. Many people grew up with societal family expectations. What was expected of you? Was something expected of you different because you were the girl? You were one of many girls. You were the only girl. You were the only child. The social conditioning often stifles the freedom to explore one's own desires. If I were to ask you to put a tick mark, you know what a little tick mark is? Just one of those lines, and you do 4 and then the line across for 5, and that's how you count. How many of you think you have enough ink in your pen to write down a tick for every time you were told you shouldn't do that? A tick for every time somebody said you're not good enough. When you say, well, I really don't think I had a lot of issues, you just ran out of ink thinking about how many times somebody told you you're not good enough. The fear of judgment, societal judgment. How many of you worry about your colleagues? How many times in the last week did you compare yourself? The document is in the, just seeing that, Lori, is in the DMP. Let me, let me drop the PDF file in the chat here real quick. Where's the chat? Over here. But write down some things for yourselves. File. DMP 30-day. Okay, here it is. Chat. It should be there in the chat now. Okay, let's move on. Lack of self-knowledge. Unaware of inner self. Jung put it, understanding the self involves a journey into the unconscious mind. Many don't undertake this inward journey and thus remain detached from their innermost desires. What would it mean? So we're not going to go into a meditation. But my question is what lies in your subconscious? If you were to ask yourself, what lies in my subconscious? What's the first thing that jumps out at you? How many of you might have answered the glass half full? My fear, my doubt. Okay, so let's switch that. The law of opposites says if your fear and doubt exist, so does your positivity. Do you see how your default mode network just worked? This is why you resist. It's not the you, listen carefully. The you that's sitting here right now, I absolutely love. The you that's sitting here wanting this desire, taking this beating, listening to me, is the one who wants this. It's the one that as soon as this call ends says that, well, that was the dumbest thing I've ever heard. That's the one that's the one I want to kick their ass. That's the one I will go to war for, and I will destroy it with you. The DIY method of destroying your demons doesn't work. The hero's journey, I understand. But what does it say on the first call, the first answering the call? You go through the first door, the first thing that shows up is what? The mentors, the allies. So I want you to write down what's in your subconscious. The answer to every question I ask, not the default ones. Every solution I need. The fire I need to burn away fear and doubt. That resides in your subconscious. My highest self resides there.
John, you accidentally sent it to me directly.
Oh, because you had done, okay, hang on. To everyone. Nope. Hold, please. Attach file. In 5, 4, 3. There it is. Boom. Fire. All right, there we go. Apologies. Now you should all see it. Heather's going into cognito mode. She's putting her hood on. She's going to the gym, baby. Limited exposure. Some people have been exposed to enough experiences or fields of study to understand what genuinely lights the fire within them. A lack of exposure narrows the range of potential desires one can identify with. Listen to that carefully. We have not been exposed to enough experiences. I think you have. Because if I look here, let me just see who all's on here right now. There's one 20-year-old on here. The rest of us are a little older than 20. Fair enough. So maybe Stephanie hasn't been exposed to as many experiences, enough experiences. But I think in the last 60 days, she's been exposed to enough that puts her into a learning curve that most 20-year-olds aren't. But the rest of us have. The rest of us have been pissed off, pissed on, run over, backed up. How many of you have been backed over by the bus? Not only did it hit you, but it backed its ass back over you and then drove back over you again. And you still wanted to get on the bus because you're like, I think I belong here. And then they threw you out the back door. So this is where the challenge with this part right here is going to find the places where we were fired up, stepped on, run over, beat up, is that we don't have a way back out. Because every time in the past that we've gone to those places of absolute, the crucible, where our life was steeled and where it was challenged to a level that we would never want to be challenged to that level again. Y'all know a memory you're thinking of? Y'all have an idea of what I'm talking about? You need to go find that energy. You need to go sweep in there and you need to do a Indiana Jones and swap out the golden idol for that, the fear and doubt. And you need to take that crucible. You need to take that heat, that fire, that with you, because here's the thing. Never again will you lose. Never again will you lose your desire. Never again will you lose your focus. Never again will you lose your passion. Never again will you lose your joy. Never again. It starts tonight. Write down the date and write down the time, because if you ever get mad again, if you ever get frustrated again, if you ever get agitated again, if you ever say, I need a break, if you say, I need a break from what? What do you need a break from? Living your dream? Taking care of your family? Come on, seriously, what do you need a break from? You need a break from living in your highest calling? You need to take a vacation from acquiring your legacy? Well, I got so much stuff to do. And how's that working for you? I'm not saying you can go tell everybody to flip off and jump off the short pier. What I am saying is that from this moment on, you can finally make a decision to find, and we haven't even gotten into anything else. You can make a decision to say enough is enough and draw the line behind you and say, from this moment on, I will never make a mistake I will have a learning experience that will change my life forever because I will not repeat the things that don't work. They will become lessons. And I will have 1,001 lessons in the next 60 days, but I will not have a mistake. A mistake is when you do the same thing over. You wake up mad. Well, that's not going to work anymore. Somebody says something to you and it gets under your skin. Isn't that fascinating? You will be challenged. If you know it, you can giggle. I see the face of Ace Ventura. Ace Ventura. When he does that face and his bottom lip goes, it's over. So we're only on, what page are we on? Page 3. Questions, comments, thoughts. Go ahead, Sharon.
Hey, Sean.
We'll go ahead, Sharon, and then Bob.
Okay.
Go ahead, Bob. Go ahead first. That's okay.
Okay.
ahead, Bob.
Well, to me, the thing that struck me in reflecting on my life, it is the energy, the fire, the passion, that high emotional level that I am and will and have committed to doing much better on. That's so critical. And I think an important part of what you shared today. Without that high emotional energy, we're not going to do the things that we want to do.
So here's what I'm going to ask you, Bob, to do right now. Without getting loud or changing anything else, I want you to stir up the emotion inside of you. I want you to fire it up right now. I want you to feel your heart increasing in speed. I want you to feel your breath going deeper. Every one of you. I want you to feel this right now. I want you to be able to sit in a high state of emotion. This doesn't mean you got to get loud. It doesn't mean you got to go and chew everybody's head off. Imagine if you could say, and it knocked over the walls of fear and doubt. What if your whisper could destroy confusion? When you were talking to your grandbabies and they're going to sleep and they fell asleep, your grandbabies ever fall asleep in your arm, brother?
Oh, yes, sir.
Did you ever whisper in their ear, I love you?
All the time.
Look at his face. I couldn't knock that off. I couldn't have steel kick that out of him right now.
No.
That is what you have to hold on to, brother. You got to use the things you already have. You have to fire yourself up when you're holding your grandbabies. And then here's the thing. I want you to imagine a bear coming. And they're coming for your grandbaby. Does it have a chance?
None.
You will,
Zero.
you will die trying. And I'm asking every one of you to stop thinking that you have more time. You don't. This is all we got. Listen, I hope you come back as one of the dogs on the ranch here. You'll live a pretty freaking amazing life. But if you ain't, or steal Bob Kane's horse, if you don't come back as one of those things, you're screwed. So, Bob, when you're wondering, man, I got to get focused, hold all your grandbabies and say, I dare you. I dare you to delay me. I dog dare you to delay me of taking care of my grandkids. You say no to me. Say no to my business. See if I give a rat's ass. You got, listen, I don't have grandbabies. Could you imagine me as a grandfather? I mean, could you imagine what transition's gonna switch
It
in
will
my body?
change your world in ways that there's no way you could imagine it, Sean.
I mean, I can't even, but could you imagine if this is how intense I am now, when that breath, that heartbeat shows up on this side of the womb, I may just turn into a raving lunatic. and it's just nothing but say hello to my little friend, and I'm like be strung out on crack and cocaine, and there ain't no way you're delaying me. So, does that help?
Indeed.
Yeah. Just hold those grandbabies and think every time somebody says no, go, thank you. Get the hell away. I got shit to do. I love it.
Well,
Sean.
thank you.
So Sean, I've just spent 3 days immersed in the loving, seeing the loving essence, being the loving essence, being in my divinity, and experiencing what takes me off of that and coming back in, so that I'm done. I'm really done. And I also experienced the karmic flow. Every one of us, like, you ask why, you think you need to do better. But the reality is each one of us are coming to this table from our own little junky stories and attachment to the stories until and it really isn't until, and I so got it inside me. And I love the idea of now going into your course and devoting myself on purpose to this. I have my DMP. The only thing, the one thing I had changed in it the other day was to add, my purpose is to live an inspired, joy, and love-filled life that enhances the lives of those I get to serve. And there's more, but that's the essence of that I know that that's my purpose. And then the rest of the thing flows. But more than that, it's like I'm looking at what I got to see this weekend also. Was one of the exercises was about withholding. And I thought, the person I withhold from the most is me. And again, that was like a karmic, it's like, that's what I came into the planet to learn, to stop judging myself, to learn. And I had so many regrets. And it's like, no, I had so many lessons. And yeah, I missed the mark a lot. I get it. And I'm 77 years old, and there's no more time to fuck around. I'm here, and I'm entering the 3rd trimester or whatever of my life at 77. And I have big plans. I'm doing it. And I'm so grateful that I have this opportunity to do this, that my body is cooperating sufficiently, that I get to take care of Polly as much as I can, that I get to have all these experiences and to learn from every single one of them. It's not like there's good and bad or evil and good. It's how we relate to it. And I'm so grateful to be here with Sean. I almost didn't want to say anything because I realize it's a whole different training that I just came from, but I wanted to bring this love, this joy, this self to this community that has supported me and served me and helped me glue myself back together again so well. And just encourage all of us to be doing what you're doing. And thank you, 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 thank you. I don't know if what I said makes any sense or has any relevance to you, but it's just I just feel so much love and so much gratitude. And it's like it's all coming together in a way I never knew it was going to do. So anyway.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it.
So
outstanding. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Sharon. And thank you for being here. And thank you for bringing all of that love and joy to us. We appreciate it. Thank you. Hey, Lori.
Hey.
Hey.
Hey. So I missed the first few minutes, and apparently that was the most important because I have no idea what you're talking about.
So we're going through the DMP. We're starting over.
Oh,
We're-
yay.
We're going from day one. So this
Like
is
a reset.
this is a reset, right? So we're going through it. And so this was all part of day one. This was 1 hour and we're to page 2 of the 11 pages. So we're going to go through each bit of this, every single bit of this, and give you time to do the writing and do the work. Because this is like working from home sometimes. Unless we're getting paid for it, we usually don't have the discipline to do it. So if you show up here, we're going to go do the work. That's all there is.
So we're only gonna do like an hour a day?
So I'm taking all of the 3 night calls, the 3 nightly calls. I'm
Right.
probably, because Diana's on here and it's already coming up on, I think, 11 o'clock for her right now.
Yeah,
So we may do some 8 o'clocks and 7 o'clocks and stuff. I still haven't figured that out because this all came to me over the weekend. And so yes, we're gonna do some different time zones. I may do some fill-in or Q&A during the day, right? And let people come in and ask some questions, half hour, 45 minutes, and just open up the Zoom and say, okay, if anybody's got questions about something, come. But it's just to get some questions answered so that when we do these, you can write down your questions, and then during the day or another time, we'll have some other Q&As for you to ask. So just trying to make
Okay.
sure we do the work.
okay, so,
I'm gonna miss tomorrow night.
So-
I mean, a lot of conflict at 6 o'clock on Monday, Tuesday.
Well, no,
So-
it's just, yeah. Whatever. I mean, it is what it is, but it's, yeah. So
so that's where this document came from?
yes, this is from the DMP. Yes.
Okay, okay. So I energetically sent you a message about resetting.
Okay. Yes. And there we go.
See, there you go.
Ta-da.
Because I was like, I was overwhelmed and I was like, okay, I was lost because I was like, okay, all these other people can go to all these meetings that they're having, but then I couldn't find them on your videos, and I was like, okay, wait a minute.
No, and that's why I said, okay, we're going to drop back, punt, and we're going to start our offense again.
Okay, well, I have my new uniform and my new helmet, so I'm good.
Got it. We'll put some stickers on it here quick. We'll get some touchdowns.
Cool, thanks.
Awesome. Hey, Ruth.
Hello. Hello. I realized you were going through the document, but so if we start now, we will start from the beginning.
Yep.
And just work.
We're going. Whatever happened is going to be in the files, but this is day one. Welcome to DMP day one.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And you can all thank Ruth because she couldn't make it to the first. No, it just happens. It just happens that way. So I love it. Hey, Daniela, how are you? You still in the garage?
Hi, Sean.
Hi.
How are you?
Outstanding.
What's going on?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing great. There a question you wanted to ask me, Sean?
I just wanted to check in on you, see how you're doing. I love your
Okay.
shiny hair. What did you do different to your hair? Your hair is like the
Ew,
glow.
I dyed and I got a cut.
Yeah, because it is literally. It looked like a shampoo commercial hair. It's so shiny.
We can't see it.
When I turn my camera on, I lose sound.
Huh.
Yeah, so
That's like when you get old and you turn the radio down so you can see better.
it's just the internet. It's wonky,
Turn that damn radio down. I can't see in the rain.
right? You know how many times I've done that?
Yes.
Yeah. Let me turn on the radio because I'm turning. Let me see if it's.
But here's the thing: we can multitask.
Yeah.
We can't even drive and with the radio on. So, what's your big takeaway from tonight?
From tonight,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. There was a part of me that wanted to tell you to shove it.
Yeah, I felt
But-
that.
Yeah, I know you did. Um, but it was just me creating an excuse. So
Mhm.
that was pretty an awareness because I do have 20 minutes.
Yep.
I'd be, I mean, maybe not today, but I did have 20 minutes. It's fascinating. Today was a very fascinating day, which kind of goes with the DMP. And it aligned with a lot of the things that I've been taught by you, and people do business with people they like, trust, and know. And word of mouth is the best kind of business. And I was introduced to a very unique individual today. And I don't think I have ever spoke to somebody the way I spoke to this individual today. I don't even know where all this information came from. Does that make sense to you? Right?
It flowed.
No,
You were in flow.
I mean, the things that came out of my mouth, I wish somebody would have recorded me because you would have been proud. Because I remember things from probably the first, second call that I've had with you.
Wow.
And it was the most amazing gift I could have gotten of understanding my own purpose, understanding that I'm an incredible resource. I'm not the source. And I don't want to be the source, to be honest with you. But I have amazing individuals in my life that I can go, oh, you won't believe. I have somebody. I can call somebody. I can introduce you to this person that can guide you in the best direction. But what was even more fascinating about this whole thing, your story of, because I mentioned the grade point average, graduated from high school, 0.9 grade point average. And the person looked back at me and goes, me too. I said, but you don't understand. He goes, I bet he's the most incredible human being you've ever met. I said, right on. The alignment, the energy, being able to guide somebody in that way, I think I understood how you feel. And I said it to myself in my head. I go, I want more of that.
I want some of that.
Right. That genuine of sitting in service. And that open heart conversation, and because somebody knows you, they like you, and the most important one is the trust. Because the mutual friend that we have, I almost didn't want to be friends with her. But she tells the story all the time. She goes, I wiggled my way into her life. I knew I wanted her as a friend. And today was, like you said, it would have been very hard to knock me off my high horse today. Even though Marcello didn't sleep, even though none of the ordinary happened today.
But
Nothing aligned.
But the extraordinary.
Did. Yep.
Yep. And that's all it is, just a little bit extraordinary.
I have no words. I really don't. When things like this happen, I'm in such loss of words that it's just emotion. And it's such an amazing feeling.
And
And I
so,
don't even have DMP right now.
well, but it would imagine 10xing that.
That was my whole point. If I had my DMP written out, could you imagine what today would have looked like?
The best of your yesterdays become the worst of your tomorrows. What if today was the new floor? Not even the new average, it's below average. It's the new floor.
I would have to have a conversation with prepare myself for the next day.
And that's what going to bed tonight is. What talent, skill, or resource do I need to come into my life tomorrow that I'll have a 10x day, that becomes the new floor. This is about principle of Kaizen, 1% improvement. And it's okay if you have a quantum leap, just stay there. What reason would there be to go back to your old energy? Who benefits from you going back to the lower energy? Does cello benefit at all?
Oh my God, nobody benefits, especially
Nobody. But then why go back?
So I have the answer for that.
Okay,
I
good.
really do. As much as I thought that I have written this new story of myself, I lied. I lied to myself.
Shocking. Really?
Yeah.
Does anybody know what she's talking about? Where you tell fibs to yourself? Anybody? Nobody? I mean, does anybody need some explanation on that? No? Everybody's pretty much got it clear? Okay.
But I do have to admit, I do have some great tools to not stay there long enough.
Yep.
And it gets shorter and shorter.
And imagine the people we're about to go have a conversation with that haven't been doing this for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, a decade, 2 decades, 3 decades. And we should all over them.
Oh, yes. That word almost slipped out of my mouth today. And I caught myself. I said, and I reworded and I said, I don't want to shit all over you. But my suggestion for this particular discussion that we're having would be, I was like, oh, good job. I was patting myself on the back in that moment. I was like, oh no, don't say should, because nobody wants to be shitted on. Because I know I don't like it.
Yep.
But so what did this go with? You know how you always say when the student is ready, the mentor will show up.
Mm-hmm.
Could the opposite exist?
It does until you take a look at it and possibly shift it in this moment as I explain it to you. What is the responsibility of a mentor? Help people do things they didn't know they could do.
Right.
And therefore, instead of the student shows up, the mentor appears. What you'll find is, and this is version 2.0 of mentorship, is every mentor is the best student.
Yes.
So becoming a good student makes you a great mentor. Because don't I have to listen to you? Couldn't I just shoot all over you for the last 4 years?
Yeah, I don't think we would have lasted 4 years.
No, we wouldn't. We wouldn't have. Is that when you call me freaked out or in joy and happiness, my answer is the same. How does that make you feel?
Mm-hmm.
So I have to become the premier student of Daniela Jukic in order to be able to mentor her in a way she's never been mentored. And that's our responsibility as a sponsor. We have to become a good student. But most people, they don't become good students. They become good coordinators, managers. They go into management mode. Did you sponsor anybody? Did you do this? Did you do that? Did you do this? Listen, I don't work for you, Skippy. We have to become students, and that's the hard thing for anybody. Most mentors are not even good students. They're not even bad students. They don't become a student at all.
Uh, This is your way of creating your own magic.
Yep. Got my own fairy dust.
Hmm.
And when you have a dialogue, not two monologues that bump into each other, and you truly listen, right? You do what Covey says, let's seek first to understand, then be understood. You become a great student, an incredible teacher, and then you teach them things they didn't know they could learn.
I've put on my list, not on my list. I don't have a list. I lied. I don't do lists. I put on my intention that every day I will replay Outwitting the Devil. Every day.
And
Even if
go ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I even if it's 15 minutes.
My point was to, with this new understanding and this new intention, don't be surprised how fast you turn it off to take notes.
Oh, yeah.
Going, this was never in there before. This has got to be, is this the same link? Is this the same recording? How is this? This was never in there, even though you know the words that are coming.
That was today. I know I've listened to this at least 4 times, at least. I go, but what's so different about it today? Even though words weren't the same. Yeah, they were, but they weren't. I spent 20 minutes talking about cigarettes. Because of what he says in there.
Mm-hmm.
20
So
minutes.
tell me some of the ways that you use to help people drift. Well, I use drugs, cigarettes, and alcohol.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the greatest leaders in society.
Mm-hmm. But the fear that happens is that when you choose and when you decide on your DMP and you go for it,
Mm-hmm.
the enemy fears you.
Yep. That's why we have to have the burning desire, the white hot desire, because half of every atom is made up of the drifter. And we can't get rid of it. We have to have the negative, but we have to have the positive so strong that when the negative shows up, we can't see it in the bright light.
The metaphor of the football field was spot on for me today.
Yeah, that was, and all of this stuff. Listen, you guys, I've never heard me say that before. If you've heard me say that before, then maybe I was spaced out, but I've never said that before. But when I read the anchor, see, this is me reading it, and I wrote it. And when I read the anchor, I'm like, how do we throw the anchor? How does a burning desire become the anchor point if we're not there yet? Well, we got to go set it. Well, we can't set it unless I'm thinking a boat. A boat runs over the place where it's going to drop the anchor. But we can't drop the anchor if we're not there. And that's where the golden lariat, I saw whatever her name was in her nice tight, whatever one. Yeah, but the real one, what her name was, and her tight, skinny,
Oh, she's beautiful. I can't remember her name.
8th grade boys want a picture of that on their wall. But we weren't allowed because it was, Catholic.
It's okay. We'll bring you on to the next event.
Right. And then I'm thinking, so we got to take the anchor and throw it And then the golden lariat was because it lit up, right? When she wanted to get everybody to tell the truth. And that's when I heard it turn into the truth is gratitude. All of this is happening while I'm talking. How would you like to be a squirrel in my brain getting run over by all of the thought trucks? And they're not little trucks. These are big ideas, right? And then
Sean,
when you have gratitude,
when you said that,
go ahead.
when you said that, I could like see myself wrapping it around my hand.
And it getting brighter and brighter. And all of the lights are off. And there's nothing in the way of that because the light from that radiates enough that there's no distraction and you just keep pulling yourself towards it, right? We talk about have something that pulls you into the future. Now imagine for every time, Rose, in your dream, when you wrap it around your hand, the anchor is wrapping it around its anchor as well. And as you pull closer, it pulls closer, and it's the speed. I just got the chills on that.
The collision for that is incredible.
Isn't that amazing? And this is what happens when you show up. There's going to be people who go, oh, I'll listen to the recording.
No, you won't.
I hope
That's
you do. I hope you do.
I'll say it for you.
So good stuff. Thank you all for helping me get better. And I mean that sincerely. Because without you, I would do this, I would do it. I've done it before. But it just helps when you are showing up for a performance and not practice. And my goal is when I'm in front of you, it's not a practice. Sometimes it may sound like it. And if I know it's going to be a practice day, that's when I say I need some help. Somebody give me a word to go perform on. Because the performance I got's just a shit show. And it ain't, you guys don't deserve me to practice. You need me to perform. Who else? Last thoughts, comments, questions, takeaways.
So I have something. I actually just got called out by Verity, who said you're doing that over again. Just because you did it once doesn't mean you're done. So I just printed them out. Cool. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I had to tell you that because I was so happy to meet her. And thank you for introducing us or helping me see her.
Just cleared up some of the stuff. I undeveloped some of the distance between
you did. You cleared the fog. But this is this is the old me. Oh, I did that. I was so intentional about doing it. And you asked me, was it a checklist when I was doing it? It was not, but it has become one because I did it. So I went, oh, so I've done that. I don't have to do it. And I went, whoa, hello. And
listen, I know this is going to sound, hopefully it sounds as romantic as it's supposed to sound. It's just like making love. I'm glad the first one wasn't my last experience. That's all I'm saying. Just a little giggle, just a little giggle. I'm glad I got to practice it.
Well, spot on. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's going to be quite the thing in my brain. Okay.
Can't unring that bell.
But you know what that lariat, that now I'm not familiar with Wonder Woman because didn't grow up in this country, but when you were talking about the lit up lariat,
right,
and then the lights were out, then the lights went out, but it was still wrapped around my hand, anchored to my DMP. The sense of security was phenomenal.
Now imagine from that state with that security, when you go back into meditation, Louise, and you say, I am on my path. Let's do the other 6. I feel my path. I do my path. I love I'm getting chills here. I speak on my path. I see my path and I understand my path. Now see if that vibration doesn't elevate to a whole nother level. And now the lariat is so bright You don't need the lights back
Don't
on.
need the light. Awesome.
Because
Ooh,
the light gives, go ahead, Sharon.
No, I don't want to finish. Go ahead, the light.
The light from the lariat burns away everything else, and that the lights that come on only are enough to see the aura of the lariat.
wow.
Imagine now you're inside the aura of the lariat, and when the lights come on, that light can't penetrate into the lariat, into the orb, into your heart center. They say when you, Dr. Joe says, when you get into this state of meditation and when you activate the spinal fluid and you start to do the meditation for the pineal gland, Kundalini, and you start to move that spinal fluid, your heart vibration can go out to 9 meters.
Wow.
27 feet. Imagine your aura of the golden lariat now 9 meter diameter, 9 meters from the floor up, circle around you. And no light can penetrate, no sound can penetrate unless it's filtered through love and light and on your DMP. You can see everybody. People can walk in and go, hey, hi, how are you? But as soon as they walk into your energy, I forgot what I was going to say to you because you were going to be an ass. Now leave. Thank you. I love you. I have people all the time. They'll call me up and go, I was about to call you for something. I go, no, you were pissed off, and see, it goes away as soon as you call me. You come into my orbit, baby. You better buckle up, buttercup.
That is so cool. I'm loving all the images in my head, and I'm feeling it in my, I'm kind of overheating right now.
Well, here's the thing. We talk about, well, I can't visualize. Y'all are visualizing the hell out of it right now, right?
Right.
I don't visualize my dreams so well. Bullshit. I got 2 words for you, and neither one of them's happy or birthday. I don't know what the other 2 words are, but they're just not happy and birthdays.
Oh, thank you, Sean.
You're welcome.
This is amazing.
Like I said, I'll get better. So hopefully this is better than day 1 we did last time. So you realize there's going to be like 5 or 6 lessons to day 1, right? I hope you understand that, because when we come back tomorrow night, we're continuing on with where we just left off.
So Sean, I just had a couple of other thoughts. One,
Okay.
You are teaching me how well I do envision, and you are so good at imaging and sharing visions and stories that it's a reminder of those stories inside. And I was thinking, before you said there's a 20-year-old on here, and I was thinking about what a gift to the world, the people that you're sharing this information with, because they're not going to have 77 years of garbage to clear before they just can move into that space in the first place. And the other thought I had was that, I love that Dr. Joe doesn't do a spiritual bypass. He makes us look at our junk and choose to change it. And when we choose to change it and we have a vision of our future, it's like, I'm feeling like, forget about this planet. I'm hanging out in my unconscious. I'm going to hang out there, because that's where it's all really happening. Because this is like, oh, okay, I can clear that. Oh, I can clear that. Oh, that doesn't matter. This is where I'm going. And it's like, and we're doing this together. We cannot do it alone. We have to have a community to love and be loved and to cherish and to take and to celebrate our oneness and our individuality. It's so amazing. I'm in such awe. Thank you. I just, this is another thought I had watching you. And Louise, you are so amazing as you clearly, and you work it and you do it, and you're not afraid of it. I love you. I just love this whole, anyway, I'm happy. Thank you.
I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Hey, Diane.
Hi, Sean. Thank you, Sharon. That's I could see it. I can feel it and I can hear it in you. When you talked about values and beliefs and you know, how our heritage and what we get from our parents and things like that. My daughter moved out from home in the last little bit, and she's been spending a lot of time here because yesterday I came for supper and she's doing jam and all that stuff. And just in talking with her, I can see the change in her, how she's seeing things with a different lens now. And so some of the things that you have taught me, I've been having a discussion with her, and it's interesting how she's expanding, and she's 28. So, and it takes me back to when I was her age. If I had this, like, who knows, right? Like Sharon said, who knows where we would be now. But I'm able to help her, and listening to her and guiding her like you guide us. It's opened a whole different view for me. It's a whole different way of looking at things and helping and guiding. So, and you do that so well. And I'm able to teach her and to help guide her now with what you have taught us. So when you brought up about, you know, what was it? We were talking about the societal conditioning and that type of thing, and the fear of judgment. And one of her friends from high school, he's been going through some stuff, but she was always the sounding board and always got blamed for a lot of things. And she just said, you know, Mom, I've had enough. And I know he's going through things, but he never asked me how I am. I'm always the one calling and taking him for coffee and doing these things. And, you know, so she's becoming more aware, and she's becoming more focused on what she wants to get out of life and where she wants to go, which is really amazing for me to see, to be able to step back and see that. So it's all the things that you're teaching us, and in a roundabout way, I guess I'm teaching her those things. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
I love it. And one of the things that just flashed into my mind as you were speaking of your daughter is the whole idea is, as cold comes along, right? The cooler weather is coming in to your neck of the woods, is insulation versus isolation. So tell her the story of the jacket. If it gets cold out, you insulate. You don't avoid going out. So as she starts to give to moments to where she may want to just say, I'm not doing that, you don't have to let her know, but that's isolation because she's not insulated well enough. And the reason that she gets to come sit with you is because you're her insulation. And you get to wrap her up in that when she leaves.
That's so true.
Yeah. So just know that you are there to be her insulator, because she's coming to you because it's a place where she doesn't want to be isolated from.
Yeah.
So you get to, Jim Rohn said it best. Listen, today as we wrap up, a little bit of you goes with me.
Yes.
And I hope a little bit of me goes with you. And then he always said, let's, which was a just absolute brilliant NLP word, right? Let's go do this. So let us go do this. So, and that's the gift you give your daughter. And that's what we all just heard. Mm-hmm. Yes, she's growing, and you're teaching. You're helping insulate her against the things and the conditions she didn't know existed out there.
Mm-hmm. And you know, when they live at home, you're a little more protective, I guess.
No, really? Mason's 20? Really?
But yeah, and the other thing is, you know, when Adolfo and Kayla moved out when I was down at the ranch, and I hadn't heard from her. So I had sent her a message yesterday, and she sent me a message late last night. And she just said, you know, like, I'm just realizing now that not everybody has what we had when we came here because of you. She said, you know, we're talking to people and they've had a really hard time. So that's another thing that's come in, like from their from the immigrant kind of mindset and their culture and heritage. They want to bring that with them, but they're having to open themselves up to a new place and new customs and new things like that. And they've adapted better, she said, because of staying with us and those kinds of things. So it's funny how all those things work together when you look at this, and when we're talking about our DMP and our burning desire and all those things. It's all those rules that we grow up with, and it's how we see the world and how we expand to incorporate wherever we are, and keeping some kind of identity to ourselves. So thank you.
You are welcome. You just gave me a challenge I'll be doing next year. So success, immigration success. Everybody who wants success is an immigrant. And imagine you're the customs control border. How many passports are you not stamping because you don't believe they're qualified to come into your country? So, and like you said, some people breeze right in and other people get 87 hours of their baggage checked. It's all because of how they showed up at the border. Wow. Hey, Ruth.
Hello, hello. So I just wanted to share a few things. One is that there was a time my daughter would refer to me as old, and I would say, do not call me old, just call me wise, because I'm not old. So, but because of that, every time I listen to you in the morning, I always leave with some nuggets of wisdom. So I wanted to thank you for that. And then when Diane started sharing about how we are making a difference in our children, but for me, it's my children and my grandkids, because even though she's only 2, there are things that I'm doing that affects her because of how I'm treating with my son and my daughter-in-law. So, and then I thought, that's what Sean was talking about, making an effect on 600 generations. And now we're starting, right? So Diane and I have gone 1 generation, and I potentially have gone the 2nd generation, and this is how it's going to go. And that's how that 600 generation is going to come about, is because we're all taking these nuggets of wisdom. And even when Danny was talking, I just saw you had this humongous grin like a proud papa, and I was just like, yay! So I just wanted to thank you and thank you and thank you. Yes, that's what I wanted to do.
So as you thank you for that, and what an honor it is to be a part of that journey, that conversation that continues, right? In a small part of a way, right? So I've often said, I can't teach everyone, but I will teach the teachers. And that's what each of you do. You're teaching your kids who go out and affect the world, and then you teach your grandchildren who are going to go out and affect the world, which is why I'm going to encourage you to have some place where the archive of don't wait for them to interview you when you have to put in your teeth. Go do your videos. That's why I want you to go do a class, go do a training, go do a video. Don't wait then go, Papa, put your teeth in. What do you want now? Right? Don't wait for them to go get on video. Do it now. You're sexy. Go put on some makeup and leave a legacy. So yes, that's why you go do what you do. None of this is for you. I love every one of you. It's to show my great grandchildren how to move people at a distance, how to have a conversation with complete strangers who are not strangers. We just haven't met in the physical world. We've met in the emotional, the energetic world, the time and space. We've all collaborated and coordinated life prior to even getting here. Do you realize we all asked each other to show up in our lives? That was the request we put in. All of the people who make us happy for the happy people in our life, we asked for them too. So, love it, love it, love it.
And just one last
thing. Go ahead, please. Go ahead, Ruth. No, go ahead.
So I bought this shirt. It says Forever. So I bought this shirt. It says Forever Grateful. Past weekend But when I bought it, it just forced me to think of all the things that I'm grateful for, including this call and this group and this community. So
Stand up so we can see it.
forever grateful. Can you see?
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. So cool. Hey, Mr. Bob Kane.
Hey, Sean, I just wanted to thank you for the restart. I needed it, and I'm sure many others did as well. And I just thank you for the restart.
You're welcome. And probably the one that needed it most was the guy that's teaching it. So I'm glad you all decided to hang out.
Let's do it.
Cool. I'm in.
Let's go kick
Sean?
that bear's butt.
Yep.
And you can say no to this because I know it's really late. I would love to read to you the final prayer that we said to ourselves last night that I think we can all just take away in our hearts if you're open to it.
I'm okay with it. And just for anybody that has to jump off, I know it's late. And don't listen. Here's where the test of you being in control. If you got to go, you go. Don't go, well, I don't want to, everybody's going to see me leave. It ain't going to matter in 6 months. Nobody's going to really care. Nobody's going to remember. So if you got to go to the bathroom, go to sleep, go do whatever, go brush your teeth. It's okay. So I love you all. Good night if you need to go. And it's all good love feelings. Go ahead, Sharon.
Okay, so from our higher consciousness, we were to read this out loud but for ourselves. I am a divine being. The words I speak are the words of God. The thoughts I emit are the thoughts of God. The actions I take are actions of God. The words, thoughts, and actions of God are abundantly overflowing with infinite love, infinite wisdom, infinite joy, infinite happiness, infinite gratitude, infinite life, infinite health, infinite light, infinite energy, infinite power, infinite success, and infinite supply. They are nothing more, nothing else. Therefore, I am a divine being. I speak God, I think God, and manifest God in actions. I heighten and brighten myself, revealing only God, so that when others see me, they are only able to feel that they have seen God. Those who have seen me have seen God. I emanate light and continue to radiate the most supreme, infinite love of God to all living things.
Amen.
Thank you. And so
Love
it
it,
is.
love it, love it.
Thank you for letting me share that.
All right, my peanuts. I love you. We're all a little bit better than we were before. We're always better together. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I love you tons, and I will see you all where?
At the next
The
event.
next event.
All right, everybody. Get some
I
sleep.
love you guys. Have a good
Thank you.
night.
Good night. Thank
Bye for now.
you.